Good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Vibe. You guys know who I am. I am Stony Godly. And here on the Vibe, we speak about, or I shall say, I speak about health, fitness, financial stability, um, just a little bit of everything, spirituality, you name it. But tonight, specifically, I want to talk with you about um, how to maintain your confidence over the age of 50. Now, some know and some may not know that in, I think, about 25 days from now, I'll be turning 55. And let me tell you, some people may think, okay, being in your 50s is the glory part of life, and that's like the high end of life. But I would say I have to speak personally for me that um, being in the 50-year-old club or above 50, it comes with its challenges. It comes with the instability of confidence. Sometimes I struggle with confidence. So if I'm struggling with it and someone that's sitting outside of my life is thinking, oh, what does she have to not be confident about? Well, let me tell you, when you sit with yourself, when you live with yourself, there are things in your life that can cause you to not feel so confident. And the same applies to me. I think the same applies to many women, um, just in general, because there are certain things that happens in our 50s, 60s, 70s that don't quite happen in our 20s, 30s, even 40s, right? So let's talk about some of the things that um, will start our confidence on a decline. And I want to make sure that I have the comments on. Let me see. Okay. So, anyway, let's talk about some of the things that may cause us to not feel so confident, um, personally. Uh, when we're younger, of course, our skin has more elasticity. Um, our body parts, such as our womanly parts, they're up a little bit higher. They're up a lot higher in our 20s, 30s, and 40s than they are in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, right? Some women are blessed to that their body doesn't begin to sag, but that is not the vast majority of women that have that experience. Um, so I know for myself, I sometimes struggle with my confidence when it comes to my weight fluctuation, because when I was younger, I used to be able to control it very well. Like I could, you know what I'm talking about. Back when you're 20 or 30, you can eat a sandwich, gain 10 pounds, and then the next week the 10 pounds is gone because your metabolism, of course, is a lot faster. Whereas that once you start, jumping that hurdle of the 40, 50, 60 and above, well, the metabolism, it tends to become a little laggish, or it just stagnates altogether. And the things that we were once able to control and make changes abruptly, it doesn't come as easily. And I can speak from that from a personal experience standpoint, because, as I just mentioned, in my youthful or younger ages, I was able to dominate and control my weight, how it would fluctuate. I knew that I could eat so much of this or drink so much of that, and then do something different. And within a couple of weeks, well, my weight was either back down to where it was or it was even lower. Whereas that now, that doesn't happen. So it messes with my confidence from time to time because I'm like, oh man, this weight is not going away as quickly as once I was able to make it. Now, to the outside world, oftentimes they will tell you, you look fine, you look great, but that's confidence is interpersonal. It is not, um, for the external world to decide where your confidence is at any given moment. But it's also up for you to identify when you're struggling in your confidence in your 50s, 60s, 70s. It's up for you to say, you know what, this is what I'm dealing with. And you don't have to tell the world, you don't have to tell others where your struggle is, how you're struggling with your confidence. Just that you're struggling with it. Another thing, um, I have noticed that when we hit 50, 60, 70s, right, um, all too often our attire tends to change. We're getting a little bit better at it nowadays, right? Because there's different designers out here that can kind of you can kind of fall into different types of outerwear with them if in fact you know how to do it, um, or there are surgical procedures that you can go have done in order to be able to wear certain types of garments, and in turn that may increase or help your self-confidence a little bit. But what I was about to say was some older women, not all, not all, but some older women, they have a tendency to start um, just not being um, not keeping themselves up. Yeah, there it is. Not keeping themselves up. Now, why they don't keep themselves up, why they don't keep their hair, um, you know, laid and slayed and all of that, why they don't keep their nails done, why they don't, do certain things, I don't know. Let me see. And I'm sorry, y'all. Things keep jumping up on my computer and I'm trying to do everything myself. So anyway, sometimes and sometimes it's health related why women stop putting themselves together. Sometimes it's because they get a little bit too secure in the relationship that they're in, that kind of makes they start giving themselves passes to really not keep their game tight like they had it before they met whoever became a part of their life, you know, and in turn, that can start messing with someone's self confidence, because eventually, if you don't keep if you don't keep your game tight like you once had it, and you have this partner, and the partner starts getting drifty eyes, well, you might want to look at what she's looking at, she or he, depending on how they identify, because I respect all LGBTQAI people. So just depends on what they're looking at. You know, you may want to, get back in the game and, stop sitting on the sideline, which brings me to another point. Oftentimes, once we hit, 50, 60, 70s and, health begins to fail. And I must say, being a little transparent, and this may not be for everybody, but I think it's for some people. Even in the health game, we just really begin to drop the ball. We think that we can still eat the same things that we once ate, drink the same things that we once drank, um, you know, get the same amount of rest that we once got. Well, that's not always true because the body, it is going to evolve whether you want it to or not. And as estrogen decreases, things are going to start happening. And as your body has to go through the menopause stage, things are going to start happening. There's no way around it. Um, but the great thing is that, even though, you understanding that, okay, I have to have these experiences, I have to have the menopause, I have to lose some estrogen. So you may want to start thinking about, okay, well, how can I regain, some estrogen? Maybe by taking, some tablets that, that increases your estrogen levels, or, maybe changing to a new diet that changes your estrogen levels. Um, if you if you keep complaining about, you have headaches and you have body aches, and you're seeing someone, guess what? Their eyes are going to start drifting again. Because, a person is only going to want to listen to your woes and me's for so long, which again is going to mess with your confidence. So, how can you increase your confidence in that area? Well, one thing that you can do, of course, is if you are experiencing body pains, you can go to holistic route. I personally myself am a holistic person. I don't believe in taking synthetic drugs because I think they just keep messing you up worse. But that's my personal opinion, and that's what works for me. You do what works for you. But um, you know, holistic science says that, like, when the person is stressing, and sometimes your stress can come from internally, you're not expressing. I mean, internally, that you're suffering from low self-esteem or low confidence, but you're not telling the world, but yet it's reflecting on the outside of your body. So this may be causing you to have these headaches and these body aches, and it's just natural that when you are stressing, even if you're smiling to the world, but internally you are sad, or you are stressed, or you are unhappy. Well, the way that your body shoots off a signal is it shoots it off through the muscles and the joints, putting inflammation around those areas. And inflammation, which is swelling, in turn causes you what? Pain, more pain. So then you go to the doctors or whatever, if that's what you do, and instead of addressing your real underlying issue, which is, I am stressed out because my confidence level isn't where I need it to be or I want it to be, and I have yet to figure out how to get it there. Well, with that stress happening in you and through you, you wind up with what you think is arthritis because that's what the world says it is. But in reality, that's not what it is. In reality, what's going on is possibly you're feeling all kinds of levels of stress. In turn, that is causing you to, hi, how are you, Romeo? Um, in turn, that is causing you to your body to become inflamed around your joints. And once that happens, you're identifying it as pain, and then you go to a doctor that is just going to throw you in a bucket of crabs. Basically, that's the way I see it personally, and say, okay, you got what everybody else has. I've heard this before. I've heard these types of symptoms before. You have arthritis, when actually that's not the case. You don't have arthritis. If you really sit down with yourself and you think about, when did this start? How did it start? Why did it start? And you go back and you think about all the stresses that's in your life. And if you are one of those stresses, because sometimes we can be our own personal stress. You might be saying, Stony, what do you mean by I can be my own personal stress? I just described it to you a moment ago. If you are lacking in self-esteem or self-confidence, and you're not addressing it, you're not making a change to make yourself feel confident, then you are going to in turn cause issues with your body, right? Okay, so let's go over some things of some ideas or concepts of how, number one, you can identify that you are experiencing low confidence or low self esteem. If you are constantly comparing yourself with some other woman, she looks better than me. She's taller than me. She has longer hair than I do. Her nails are better than mine. Her makeup is better than mine. Her this is better than mine. Her the car she drives is better than mine. You have low self-esteem and you have low confidence because actually you're not complimenting her. You're comparing her to yourself, right? So the first thing you have to do, and I spoke with my niece about this last weekend. I said, take the time to look in the mirror. Seriously, look in the mirror. Number one, if you struggle when you look directly in your own eyes and you cannot tell yourself that I am confident, I am smart, I am proud, I am strong. If you cannot tell yourself those things along with I love you, if you can't, you got work to do. And it's okay to have work to do. It's one thing to have the work to do, know what the work is, and do the work. It's another thing for you to get on social media and do the play game and tell the world, oh, I'm working on me. And then as soon as you see a post, I'm just making an analogy here. As soon as you see a post of another woman and she's extraordinarily beautiful, then you be like you're clapping at her for no reason. Well, you're not working on you. You are still where you are. You're still struggling with your self-esteem and with your self-confidence. So back to what I was saying. Hey Kim, how are you? Thank you, Kim. So as I was saying, you have to take the time to stand in the mirror, take a notepad. I suggest you take a notepad and write the things down that you are seeing through your own eyes because nobody should be able to see you better than you. And that means even your imperfections. And when I say nobody, let me go back and clean that up a little bit. Nobody should be able to see you better than yourself and God. Anybody that is a human should not be able to see you like you see you. So that means that you may be able to run around and lie to the world, but do not lie to yourself. If you get in the mirror and you see some things that you really need to change, let's say the common thing for a woman over 50, weight. At most women over 50, not all, but most women over 50 say, I need to change my weight. My weight is it's just out of control. So, well, then you need to write a subheading underneath of that. I need to change my weight, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm first going to start on my nutrition because the nutrition is far more valuable and far more important than the workouts. Okay, because you can work out, have a poor nutritional plan, and you won't see any changes, or you'll see very minimal changes. Okay, so then underneath of that subheading, with your nutrition, you need to list what kind of nutrition plan you're going to go into. Are you going to write this nutrition plan yourself, or are you going to go to someone that has experience on writing nutrition plans? And are you going to go to a certified somebody, or are you just going to jump online and play Russian roulette and take your chances, basically? Okay. And then under that subheading, you need to write, um, okay, I want to lose the weight, but at the same time, I need to be still physically strong because I'm getting at an age where it's just natural for bones to start degenerating, discs to start degenerating, muscles to start getting weaker. And I don't want to be weak. I want to be strong. So how can I do that? I'm working on my weight now. That's what's up, Kim. That's what I'm talking about. Get in the mirror and have a good conversation with yourself and know where your self-confidence is low at, so that you can address it, so that you can be the very best person to yourself that you can be. Because once you can be the very best person you can be to you, the world plays second fiddle to that. The world is naturally going to gravitate to what you are producing. They're going to either way, whether you are producing a positive product in yourself or producing a negative product in yourself, whichever one you decide to produce, that's the audience, or that's the public that you are going to draw to yourself, right? So back to the weight thing again. So you have to understand that you've been walking on your legs for the last 50, 60 years. You need to strengthen your legs. So you may say, well, okay, well, how do I do that? Okay, so we're going to go right back to the nutrition thing again. You're going to have to eat things that is going to grow muscle, and it's going to help you when you go to the gym to strengthen those muscles and add muscle on top of the old muscle that you've been using. Okay, the legs take the biggest whooping of the whole body, I think, because it carries everything, right? So you may say, okay, well, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start working out that at the gym. Well, you under that you have to write another subheading, honey. You have to say, okay, well, either I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna stand around and look like an idiot because I don't know what to do, or I'm going to go seek out a certified trainer and take from some money from somewhere, maybe stop buying so many hamburgers or eating out so frequently, take that money, pay the certified trainer, and get them to help me for 6 months until I get the grasp of what I'm doing and understand the equipment that's in the facility so that I can know how to properly use it. And then after 6 months, I can fly on my own. That could be one area, right? Which we talked about fitness. Let's say hypothetically, you're struggling internally, mentally. No, let's stay on the outside of the body for the moment. Okay, so let's say hypothetically you have hyperpigmentation, meaning you have darkness on your neck, you have darkness around your eyes, you may have some acne scarring, and that may be messing with your self-esteem or your self-confidence. Well, you want to take some steps to address that. So, first you want to look internally. You want to say, what is causing this hyperpigmentation? Sometimes hyperpigmentation isn't just because, once again, because a doctor said, okay, well, I'm gonna throw you in a crab basket with all of these other people with these skin conditions. You got hyperpigmentation just like the rest of them, and that's it, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, I beg to differ with the medical professional. They have their opinions, but a lot of times, if you start to research and learn the anatomy of the body and the cells and organs, you'll know that a lot of time hyperpigmentation comes from the fact that the kidney or the liver is not cleaning the blood enough. There's like blockages there. So you may say, okay, well, what do I do about that? Once again, you go back to your nutrition and you have to learn what herbs and what spices will do what to resolve your issue, along with some topical products. Believe it or not, and I'm not a medical professional, so don't trip. Okay, if you trip, hey, come back from your vacation. That's all I can say. But if you have hyperpigmentation or you have burn marks from your acne scars, whatever, believe it or not, now I'm going to mention this product only because I use it and I know for a fact that it works. And it has cleared up my skin ridiculously within no time at all. Pardon me, sorry about that, y'all. Um, believe it or not, Vicks Vapor Rub. Sometimes the simplest products that you would never think would do such major work will actually do major work. Well, I'm going to say this. That don't mean for you to run out and go buy a whole case of Vicks Vapor Rub, but I can tell you for myself because I use it every single day faithfully, like clockwork. I use it twice a day, once when I get up in the morning, and then again before I go to bed at night. I use Vicks Vapor Rub on my face, And I also use it on my fingernails, my toenails, and on the bottom of my feet. You might be saying, okay, well, why do you take it that far? On my face for the hyperpigmentation, not the hyperpigmentation, but for the few acne scars that I do have. And yes, you can still have them at over 50 years old, especially if you did not take care of them when you were younger. Okay. So they're going to still be there until you do what you need to do. All right. So along with good nutrition, excessive water for me, that doesn't mean that'll be for you, but for me, I'm just telling you what works for me. Um, I do a lot of vegetation, a lot of fish products, and Vicks Vapor Rub, and I do a couple times a day, and pretty much my skin is as clearer than what it's been in a lot of years. Okay, and with me doing that, it helps to increase my self confidence, because now, there was a time in my life, not recently, but there was a time in my life that I would not go without makeup because I wouldn't take care of my problem. And I feel that a lot of times I'm not the only one that has that issue. You suppress the problem rather than resolving the problem. Instead of concluding and solutioning the problem, you just suppress it and be like, you know what, I'll just cover it over with this or with that. But eventually, you're not going to be able to cover it over no more, because even if, let's say hypothetically, since we're on a topic of skin and makeup, even if you cover it over, you're still going to suffer from some form of self-confidence when you take your makeup off, because you're not going to want people to see you without it off, you know. And I can honestly say I have conquered that issue with myself. I can go out anywhere without makeup on. And I'm truly now in my life at almost 55 years old, I'm using makeup for what it's meant to be used for. It's meant to enhance the different areas of the face and body. It's not some of them are meant to conceal, and but mainly it's meant to enhance, in my opinion and in my definition. And truly now I can do that, and I can do it with confidence. I can, go without it, and I can go without it for very long periods of time. But it took me addressing my issue in order for me to get to that point of confidence, right? So, the same thing that applies to hair. Women over 50 is just natural, unless you just have a very thick, healthy head of hair and you have not done anything chemically or styling, protective styling, as we would like to call it. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is: wearing damn wigs, okay? For long, too long, too long. And then you get that alabald, because it ain't no alopecia, ma'am. It's not alopecia. It's you have caused yourself to go bald because you're leaving that wig on unnaturally. It's an unnatural thing. It's a synthetic fiber. Even if they're calling it human hair, it is attached to a cap. There is a synthetic fiber, and the scalp is just not meant to do all of that, go through all of that stress and strain. And then it gets no light, and then you sweat, and then what happens after you sweat? It doesn't dry under that wig, and then your scalp gets molded and mildewed, and you don't realize it. And then before you know it, you what, bald as an eagle. So then you go to one of these medical professionals, and they say, "Oh yeah, well, let me throw you in that crab basket too." Boy, I got lots of crab baskets here that I could throw you into. Okay, now I'm just going to say you have alopecia. I'm going to prescribe you a medication, and you're still going to be bald as hell. So, how do you address something like that? Because now that's messing with your self confidence too. You can run around and scream to the world, "Oh, yeah, I am not my hair," as India Irie, lovely the way she put that. But that's not a statement that a lot of women are strong enough to stand in. I am not my hair. Some women, that is, they will hold on to that, like that clown. You know how men have that little clown circle. You know, there's some women that will hold on to that, put that little piece of hair that's around this side. That's all they got left now because they didn't take care of it when they had it. So they'll put that little piece in a ponytail and then still be gluing stuff up top and carrying on. And the self confidence still is not being fixed because they're not fixing the problem. So you may say, well, how do you fix that problem? I'm not a medical professional, but I can tell you that not leaving things on your head for extended periods of time will probably help. And mixing up, believe it or not, things that you can buy from right over the counter would most likely help, but it's going to take time. Just like it took time for you to create the issue, it's going to take time for the issue to heal. So that may mean that instead of wearing wigs on a consistent basis, maybe whew, learn how to put them on yourself so you can take them off the same day. That may mean wearing head wraps instead of wearing wigs. That may mean, starting to collect some hats. If you're not feeling great about not having no hair, you know, um, then you may want to start collecting hats and wearing wraps underneath the hats to give it some more styling. Or I think they sell those hair hats nowadays where there's some hair hanging from underneath the hat and it's attached to the hat, not to your head. Just until you begin to heal your issue, if you can heal it at all. And if you can't heal it, then you're going to have to heal your internal mind, which says that I have to heal my self confidence because, and I have to accept my responsibility for myself. I have caused this damage, and now I have to just go ahead and be okay with this. I have to live with this. So I'm going to have to make some choices. I'm either have to cut the rest of this hair off and, start shaving my head every day and, just rock a bald, or I'm going to have to learn how to install and destall constantly so that my scalp can get the rest and the vitamin D and everything that it needs so that you can once again build your self-confidence, right? So those are just some of the things that I feel that we as women over 50, and I cannot speak for everyone, and nor am I trying to speak for everyone. I am, however, speaking from some experience, and I'm showing you the confidence that I have now compared to some of the experiences that I had that I just talked about. So I didn't have alopecia, but I was over the years. I was pulling my edges out through the glues and through the sew-ins and through the braids. All of those things was happening to me. Hi, how are you? I hope all is well, Dennis. So I was doing some of those things back when I was a bit younger, and in my life today, I have hair, but my edges are still very thin. They're not bald, but they're very thin. So I have to be ever so careful not to do things that's going to cause more damage, but make sure that I'm doing things that are going to help me to maintain the integrity of my hair and maintain my self-esteem. I've had the experience of having skin that wasn't so healthy. Well, the unhealthy skin was coming from unhealthy habits that I had. I was doing a lot of things that I should not have been doing. I was, eating a lot of the wrong things that was not agreeing with my skin. I was living in lifestyles that I shouldn't have been in. I was working jobs that I shouldn't have never worked that also just kept causing reactions to my stress levels and to just my body as a whole. And the first thing it would show up, first place it would show up, was in my skin and sometimes in my weight. And so now at over 50, I tend to watch all of those things. I try to keep my stress levels at a minimum, even with what's going on in this world that we live in today. I try to make sure that I keep my mindset on things that are positive, upbeat, uplifting. I try to make sure that I get down to the gym several times a week. I try to make sure that I am drinking the right amount of water. I am eating the right nutrition, with giving myself a little bit of a break here and there. um, I have during the pandemic, I've learned to install my wigs a lot better. I already knew how to install them, but I just got better at it because, of course, the pandemic and, being separated from people without your choice of being that way, it could cause a level of discomfort, stress, whatever. So I chose to take that time and work on things that could increase my self confidence. So that's what I did. I taught myself how to install and how to take them off properly. I taught myself how to, or I learned better how to apply my makeup, but also how to take care of my skin more properly. Just the things that would over time help my confidence to evolve and to grow. So I hope that some of what I've said has resonated with you if you are, within the 50 plus bracket. And if you're younger than that, I hope that you take some of these things that I'm talking about now and assess yourself and then come up with solutions for yourself that's going to help you to become that better you, that greater you, that more confident you. So I am going to go ahead and close this thing out. I've been with you guys for about almost an hour, and I feel like an hour is enough of a conversation. So I hope that I've said something that has motivated you, inspired you, encouraged you. Um, if you have any questions, just post them into the comment section. I'll be happy to try to address them as best as I can. Anything that I do address, it will be coming from my own personal opinion. I am not a professional of anything of any sort. Everything that I'm talking about from my own personal experiences and my own personal growth and knowledge as I grow and evolve through my life. And on that note, I hope you guys have a more than a marvelous night. Listen, if you're watching me from YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe. I'm not one to mention every single time to subscribe, to turn on the notification bell, to comment, because you're going to only do what you want to do. You're only going to follow who you want to follow. So I'm not going to make that a requirement of anybody. You can find me on other social media platforms. However, I am on Facebook, and I am on Facebook a whole lot because I am almost 55 years old. So I still kind of like Facebook, even though Facebook has its issues. I am also on Instagram, but I pretty much only upload pictures and videos like everybody else. I am also on TikTok, which I only like upload videos on TikTok too. I really don't get into a bunch of conversations there. So those are the social media platforms you guys can find me on. If you would like to connect with me, I would love for you to do so. I would love for you to follow me on TikTok and Instagram and all the other social media platforms. Um, just so that, as I help myself, I can try to help others as well, because we don't live this life for ourselves. We live this life to be an inspiration to other people's lives. With that being said, thank you so much, and you have a more than splendid night. Bye.